handle the recurrence, right? You had 11 years from 2003 to 2014, thought you probably had rocked it and conquered it and whatever. And so help us understand, talk us through that part of the journey. Like maybe talk us a little bit about what happened and obviously how you felt in that 2003, what got you to 2014, and what did you do differently? Because now we are here now, 6-7 years later, then you're no evidence of disease. Can you help us explore that?
Yeah, absolutely. So my original early stage breast cancer diagnosis was still a stage 3 diagnosis. And I was 37 years old at the time. I had a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old and a budding career. And I spent 9 months getting through mastectomy, chemotherapy, and radiation, and felt like I got through it relatively easily. I certainly had some side effects, but what I didn't realize was that there was anything else I could or should do. And I don't like to should on myself, and I don't second guess it. I realized that, you know what, I did the best I could with what I knew at that time. And because I had those 2 little boys and that budding career, I just wanted to go back to normal, whatever normal is, right? We all have what we think of as our normal life. And I was anxious to grow hair again and, rock my life and family and career. And so I really just went a conventional approach, and so didn't learn that there were other things that made up a really healthy, holistic life. I thought I ate well, I thought I was fit, all that stuff. And so each year that I celebrated a cancerversary, I felt more and more comfortable, and those niggly little feelings in the back of my head about, is it coming back, got further and further back. And when I hit my 10-year cancerversary, I thought, done, great, I'm through it. But 11 years later, I got a symptom, and it didn't even dawn on me that it might be cancer. Just not even at all on my radar. But the left leg started to go numb. And then eventually I couldn't hold myself up when I tried to do a lunge on my left leg. And then I eventually would just fall down because my leg would fall out from underneath me. So did some work to explore that, to figure out what was going on. Took a few months, fast forward to the actual diagnosis, pretty devastating as is any significant disease diagnosis. And I had started back with my conventional oncologist, but I knew I needed to do a whole lot more to overcome this if I truly wanted to live to be 100 healthy and sane, right? I wasn't going to let cancer get in the way. And I had, thankfully, even the conventional oncologist said to me, this is a chronic disease we can manage. So I had hormone receptor positive cancer the first time, ER/PR positive, HER2 negative. And they could not get a good biopsy of the bone to tell what kind of cancer I had the second time. So we decided to treat it like it was that first cancer metastasis that looked like it. And so we treated it. I did take hormone blocking drugs, but I immediately changed my lifestyle. I detoxed my life. The people, the stress, the products I used in my home and on my body, the, anywhere and everywhere I could, detox, clean up, healthier living, changed my nutrition, changed my, what I ate. I don't like to talk about diets. It's not a diet, but I eat very differently than I used to. So I changed what I was eating and cut out all meat, cut out all sugar, cut out all dairy, and was essentially trying to survive on vegetables. And it was hard. I had a lot of tears over the course of that learning in those first few months. But for those that have been diagnosed with cancer, that you get a scan, and then 3 months later they want another scan. My diagnosis was late November, and by mid to late January, my symptoms were receding. My left leg was not as numb, and I was not falling down anymore. By the 3-month scan, cancer was stable. So I felt like we had arrested that cancer and stopped it. And I continued to do all the different things, right? Looking at what I was eating, looking at how I moved my body, looking at, again, the detoxing. I did a lot of work with my therapist to learn how to be enough, because I was always seeking validation outside of myself instead of, just accepting that I was enough exactly as I was and giving myself the validation I needed. So I did a lot of the emotional work and the physical work, and, worked on deepening my spirituality. And then at some point in 2016, I found the book Radical Remission by Kelly Turner, PhD. Kelly had done the research. And in her book, I opened it to the table of contents. The chapters are the 10 healing factors. Actually, in the very first book, Radical Remission, there are 9 healing factors. In her follow-up book from 2020, Radical Hope, there are 10 healing factors. Went back and looked at her research because she was wondering why exercise hadn't come up the first time around. So let me just say this. Exercise didn't come up the first time around because those people she was talking to and interviewing and researching, most of them had been sent home on hospice because conventional medicine had nothing left to offer them. So they couldn't exercise in the true sense of the word, but they all started moving their bodies as much as they could when they could. So this is why there's a 10th factor that got added later. But with that first book and looking at all of those healing factors listed in the table of contents, I was so excited. It was so affirming. I'm like, check, check, check. I've done that. I've done that. I've done that. And then there were a few I went, ooh, what's that? What does that mean? How can I do more of that? I need to look into this. And so I really dug in further to figure out what else I needed to do to change my life, change my lifestyle, everything. So yes, Linda, I did a lot of things differently. I did everything differently with the recurrence diagnosis.
Okay, so I love hearing that, right? Because you can't do the same thing and expect a different outcome. You have to do something different to get a different outcome. And that's what you did. So now you kind of probably wet our whistle. And for some of us, maybe yes. And Linda says, and it worked, right? So that's even the best part. But